All right, and now vibes aren't enough. That's the focus of tonight's angle. All right, we're here in Chicago, so of course, I like to think about the legendary 1985 Bears, one of the most dominant football teams in history. Now, if you remember, the Bears were famous for their bone-crushing defense, which often knocked the other team's quarterbacks out of the game altogether. Well, that's pretty much what President Trump and his campaign did to the Democrats earlier this year. Joe Biden, as the incumbent president, he was the great hope of the Democratic Party. And they relied on his experience. They defended his record. And they covered up his decline. They told themselves over and over that he was the only person who had ever beaten Trump, and therefore that he was the best man for the job. They blocked anyone who tried to have a real debate in the Democratic primaries. And then, after all that, President Trump effectively ended Joe Biden's 52-year career in politics in 90 minutes. Now, Biden's on the sidelines where he sits with almost everyone else who's challenged President Trump. The Clinton family, the Bush family, the Cheney family, all of them were very powerful, very talented, until they crossed paths with Trump. Now they're all retired from politics, contrary to what the media predicted at the time.
The battle between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton is over. Hillary's going to win.
Enough with Donald Trump already. He's done. He lost.
Trump's done. Trump's over.
With all their most talented players gone, the Democrats have been forced to turn to an unproven backup quarterback, the last person that they ever wanted to see on the field. Now, for years, the media has told us that she was terrible at politics, and the media, in that case, was not wrong.
So Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically, that's wrong.
Okay. And yesterday, she tried to answer a press question about how she'd pay for the one policy of hers that we know about. Now, see if you can get out a piece of paper and a pen. Try to diagram this sentence.
We know that there's a great return on investment. When we increase home ownership in America, what that means in terms of increasing the tax base, not to mention property tax base, what that does to fund schools, again, return on investment. I think it's a mistake for any person who talks about public policy to not critically evaluate how you measure the return on investment.
Drinking game, return on investment, ROI. Since being named as the nominee, Kamala Harris has only made 3 major decisions, and all 3 were disasters. Number 1, caving to the anti-Semites in her party, she bypassed Josh Shapiro, the obvious choice for VP, and gave the job to Tim Walz, a radical left-winger who's the dream candidate, if you do opposition research, maybe for the GOP. Now, because of the many lies that Walz has told and because of his disastrous record in Minnesota, the Harris campaign is afraid to let him do interviews. Unless, of course, it's conducted by Kamala herself.
In the face of a stranger, when you're looking in the face of a stranger, you should see a neighbor, right?
Yeah. I'm about crying on this when you talk about, look, a girl from Oakland, California, and a guy from out in Nebraska on there.
Second mistake, rejecting the advice from the Democrats on the Hill, she announced that radical economic agenda that was already denounced by top economists and her supporters in the mainstream press even.
We've seen this kind of thing tried in lots of other countries before, Venezuela, Argentina, the Soviet Union, et cetera. It leads to shortages. It leads to black markets, you know, plenty of uncertainty, might actually increase prices.
And number 3, in her speech that rolled out that disaster agenda, she effectively conceded that Bidenomics was a failure and that Americans were still being hurt by inflation.
A loaf of bread costs 50% more today than it did before the pandemic. Ground beef is up almost 50%.
Failure. Not surprisingly, clips from the speech are more likely to turn up in Trump ads than anything released by the Democrats. So let us be very clear tonight. There's a reason why the Democrats wanted to keep Harris on the bench. There's a reason why she's the backup and not the starter. And of course, like any well-coached team, the Democrats are doing everything they can to protect her. They don't let her do interviews. They encourage her to stay on script. And they've told her publicly that they do not want her offering any more policy proposals. And this week, they're going to do everything they can to distract the voters from her awful record and her poor political judgment. And if they can keep her hidden from now until November, the Democrat machine is certainly strong enough to try to win this election. But, and there's a big but, her momentum is already stalling. Trump still leads big on the top 3 issues that concern Americans most: inflation, the border, and the economy. He's showing that staying power in key swing states, it's strong, including in Pennsylvania. So if back in January that you told, I don't know, Republican leaders that Biden would have bombed so badly and that Democrats had to go with Harris to win the election, they would have felt very confident about their chances. And the underlying dynamics, they have not changed. So Republicans should feel very confident about their chances now. And that's the angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.